Hello everyone, my name is Robert Hayanu. Thank you for joining me today for the summer kickoff Smokehouse Chat from United Tribes of Bristol Bay. I'm a fisherman, a lifelong resident of the Bay, a tribal member. I'm also the president of UTBB. Our organization represents 15 tribal governments in the region that represents more than 80% of Bristol Bay's population. Our tribes chartered UTBB with one core mission: to protect our watershed. We do this work because the habitat that provides for the fish makes it possible for the fish to provide for us, for our tribal communities, for the stable commercial salmon economy that's been thriving for over 100 years. It has and continues to significantly shape our lives, our communities, and the region. The fishery defines who we are. Our team just attended the Bristol Bay Fish Expo, where the theme was celebrating our past, sustaining our future. What this means to me is that we have to know our past so we can sustain the future. The history of salmon and the people and industries that rely on them is largely one of struggle and loss. Specific salmon populations are a fraction of what they were 100 years ago. From watershed to watershed, working your way up the Pacific coast, we see the evidence of that, except for here in the Bay. And what's the reason for that? Because we still have the habitat and the intact watersheds that have made it possible for record salmon runs to come back year after year. I don't mean to suggest that all we have now was made possible by just wishful thinking. It took generations of work by local, state, and national leaders to ensure that this bay, this salmon engine, keeps humming. Before any non-native people came to these shores, it was the original people of the bay who acted as stewards to this land and the fishery. We've had state leaders like Jay Hammond who knew the essential fact that you cannot just protect salmon at sea. You must protect their upland habitat spawning grounds as well. His creation of the fishery reserve that now bears his name is a testament to the kind of forward thinking and leadership we are so in need of now. We saw the area plan for Bristol Bay in 1984 that built upon the fishery reserve to protect habitat, and most recently, President Obama stopped all potential offshore oil development in Bristol Bay. Now, why am I emphasizing all of these lessons from the past? Because what we are seeing today is a sharp break from the work of so many leaders of the past who have protected our fishery. The Pebble Mine proposed for the headwaters of some of our greatest salmon rivers is exactly the kind of foolish, destructive project that has come to define the failure of salmon runs in the Northwest. It contradicts not only the values of our region, indigenous people, but also the life's work of men like Hammond who oppose this project. We need that kind of leadership now. Unfortunately, the fate of our fishery is currently in the hands of the Army Corps of Engineers. These folks tell us, don't worry, and to trust the process. We aren't fooled by this rhetoric, and you shouldn't be either. But the reality is less than 1% of the permits are denied by Army Corps, and we must not stop fighting because the threat is more real than ever. So what's the solution? We must continue to fight in every way we can, and we need to ensure we have leadership at the state level engaged in proactive work to ensure that our fishery, the foundation of this region, are put first in the state's policy making. But these actions take leadership. Moreover, they take the kind of bold vision that Hammond and Stevens had. We need that now more than ever. So when I think about the future of the Bay, I think I share with all of you the strong desire that future is defined by salmon. Salmon can provide the basis for the future that sustains all of Bristol Bay's people, businesses, and livelihoods. This is our vision for Bristol Bay's sustainable future. But the future cannot happen if we do not take the steps necessary to ensure the habitat that makes those salmon runs possible is protected. An engine is not going to run if it is not properly maintained. Right now we are faced with the historical threat to the operation of Bristol Bay's salmon engine. Hard rock mining in the heart of our salmon spawning ground is not the recipe for a sustainable economy in Bristol Bay. In fact, it will take from our future generations the very choice that each of us enjoy to engage in salmon fishing in a cultural or commercial way. We will not allow that choice to be taken from our children or from their children. I implore all of you to join us in protecting the habitat that will guarantee Bristol Bay's sustainable future. On behalf of UTBB, as we wait the over 50 million salmon returning home to Bristol Bay in the coming weeks, we want to wish you all a safe and productive season.